It was the night of November 22, 1997, a Saturday. I remember it very well. We organized a small meeting with Lorena's closest friends for her birthday. Everything was going on in a pleasant atmosphere. To tell the truth, the number of guests was not very large. In total, we would be about 30 people. But I remember that at about 1 or 2 in the morning, Graciela, another of my friends, suggested to Lorena to open the gifts that had been given to her, taking advantage of the fact that we were only about 8 people. Amid jokes, I opened them one by one until it was time to open the gift Graciela had brought. Our surprise was great, as at first we all thought it was a simple board game. But no, it was a Ouija board. It's supposed that when playing with the Ouija, one makes contact with beings from beyond, so most of us showed a gesture of displeasure. But Graciela told us to calm down, that she knew a lot about those things and that everything would be fine, that one doesn't always encounter evil spirits. Amid arguments, time passed, and 3 people decided to leave, arguing that playing with the Ouija was a huge stupidity. To tell the truth, I too was in agreement with them. But my curiosity was very great. How is it possible to communicate with spirits through a simple board? It was more or less 3 or 4 in the morning when my friends placed the Ouija board on a small table. All sat around, and we lit some candles. Graciela was very well prepared. Once again, I was encouraged to play, but I didn't accept. I felt like I was already risking a lot just by being there. We were a total of 5 people: Lorena, Graciela, Sandra, Joaquin, and me. I must say that I felt safer when I heard that my friend Joaquin also held the same position as me when he decided to remain only as an observer and making everyone promise that if something strange happened, we would stop playing immediately. A few moments passed, and absolutely nothing happened. The oracle did not move. For those who do not know, the oracle is that small triangular piece that is placed on the board and that indicates, one by one, the letters of what the spirit supposedly tries to say. And, as he didn't move, it meant that there was no spirit in contact with us. For a moment I was happy, but after a few more moments, he started moving. Everyone started asking him questions. They even asked about things only we knew, but that spirit responded with great certainty. It can be said that everything was going well until then, but that night something terrible happened. They asked him about the true cause of death of an acquaintance of ours, about whether there were more spirits besides him near us. Then they asked him other questions, which I believe was the worst. They asked if he was a good or bad spirit. After a few moments, the oracle indicated that yes. Suddenly, a door that was located behind us opened, and Sandra thought she heard someone calling her by her name, but I certainly did not hear anything. What I am very sure of is that the candle I was holding began to vibrate, and consequently, I dropped it to the floor. Everyone tried to stop me, but I didn't listen. I managed to hear Graciela tell me that I couldn't just leave, as they had to say goodbye to the spirit first. Panicked, I ignored her words, but from what I could see, they all stayed there. I remember that I knew nothing of my friends in the next few days. Sometime later, I found out that things got worse after I left. They told me that the spirit was asked his name, to which he replied with a rather strange and difficult to pronounce name. Excuse me for being unable to tell you what it was, but they didn't even manage to remember it. They also told me that leaving there was the best thing I could have done since, not being directly involved in the game, the risk I ran by leaving was less. As I already mentioned, one of the most important rules of the Ouija is that you cannot leave the site until the entity allows you to go and says goodbye. As far as I understand, that spirit did not allow them to leave. Maybe one of the strangest things is that no one realized the things that another perceived. I'll explain. Joaquin said he heard footsteps running towards him, but none of the others realized, so he couldn't stand the situation and fell to his knees. Besides, Sandra, in a very unusual way, started laughing hysterically. She did it while looking towards the courtyard, just through the door that had opened a few moments ago. Then she fell to the floor. The rest, she claimed, had not seen anything there. Lorena said she heard footsteps on the roof and a kind of howl, like an animal. And, likewise, no one else noticed that. Graciela heard a clear scream from a distance and felt that they were pushing her back. And well, from what I know, it was at that point when everyone ran away without finishing the game appropriately. It's very strange. Maybe you think what I thought, that possibly everything is due to a case of collective paranoia, because a very good proof of this is that no one realized what the others saw, and each one interpreted it in their own way. Now, almost 20 years after that night, I have the belief that everything that happened with my friends was not due to a mere coincidence. Because of the 5 people that we were during the game that day, only 2 of us lived. Joaquin, that month, began to suffer terrible headaches and a sudden loss of weight that ended up taking his life away. The doctors were unable to diagnose him correctly. The truth is, this filled us with terror. Without even talking, we all came to the conclusion of blaming the Ouija. Lorena was murdered by her boyfriend a few months later. It's strange, because he seemed to be a good man. I don't know what could have happened between the two of them. Sandra didn't look very good from the beginning. Occasionally she fell into a crisis of laughter and hysteria, just like the one she suffered that night. For this reason, her relatives moved her to another city to be treated. However, a few years later I found out that she ended up committing suicide. Graciela and I share the same fate because we began to experience exactly the same mental torture. In my case, I started by hearing a voice calling me. Then I began to see shadows with strange shapes, although some were humanoid. I must say that I managed to get used to this over time. But there is something that does baffle me. There is one that is particularly rare. It's strange. I usually recognize it because it seems to be a very tall man. I would say that he is about 1.80 meters tall and very thin. Besides, no matter how strange it may seem, I never get to see his arms. It's as if he didn't have them. I don't distinguish his features either. I've tried to record him, but I've never been successful. I don't know if anyone who hears my story can tell me why, but every time I see that man, my ears are blocked and my muscles are tense. It's as if they exert a strong pressure on me. I always die of fear every time I see him, although without being able to explain how, he disappears instantly when I blink. There is no specific moment when I can see him. It's always sporadic. I can go days, or even months, without seeing him. But when I least expect it, there he is again. He has never tried to attack me or anything. He just stays still, looking at me. That, in part, manages to calm me down and to make me lose a little bit of the fear. Thank God, I enjoy good health and I think I'll be fine. I haven't heard the voice calling me for years. The only thing that can be said to be wrong in my life are those shadows stalking me and that strange man. On the other hand, I must be honest, Graciela is not having a good time. She experiences exactly the same thing as I do. It's curious. She can also see that man I'm telling you about. She has heard him speak in a very strange language. She is unable to discern what he is saying, but I definitely feel that it is not something good. She is very unwell. She has gone to several priests, but even they cannot calm her down. Besides, she began to suffer from severe bone pains. Many doctors have seen her, and while some assure it's cancer, others believe she has nothing. A week ago I went to see her and, to tell the truth, she doesn't look good at all. What worries us is that she says that the last 4 times she has seen that man, she has managed to see his arms, and that the last time she saw him, he was holding what appeared to be her wedding dress. We don't know what that means, but we're sure it's nothing good. She has said goodbye to me on countless occasions, but she feels that that entity will come for her on a day not very far away. The truth is we're very scared. I don't know what's going to happen to us. I hope they can offer a prayer for us. I'm almost sure that after her, I will follow. However, I am fully aware that I must attend to the consequences. The more I think about it, the more sure I am. Despite many things against me, There are also others who support what happens to me. Because of the other 3 people who left the place before playing, I know they are well and have a prosperous life. I have tried to seek help. I have gone to priests, and they have told me that there is nothing to fear. But I don't know. I don't know what I should do and what's going to happen to me. Thank you very much for listening to me.